I've paid thousands of dollars in courses to learn what you're basically teaching on your podcast for free. What you're putting out there is so valuable. So, I just really want to acknowledge you, and I definitely send everyone to your podcast.
You were virtually one of the first mentors that I looked up to and started following. You're always one step ahead of the game. So I just wanted to give you kudos and props for that, because lots of people are watching, lots of people are learning from it.
Tucker and the whole TTM crew, Dan and Chris, thanks so much for your support. I love what you guys do, and a huge fan. Having this support's huge. So I'm grateful for that.
What's up, everybody out there in listener land? Hey, it's episode 277, and as always, I'm your host, Tucker Mary here. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I've got a short little episode for you this week. Reason being is because we've got a video podcast that we're putting out this week as well. We wanted to take you guys back out in the field, and we wanted to show you some actual real deals that we're working on right now. And it's a renovation project in a great suburb here in Portland, and we're doing kind of a modern farmhouse style renovation on the home, and it should be done here in, probably 3-4 weeks, and it should sell really quickly. So anyway, I wanted to take you guys out there. I wanted to show you what we had going on, and just get out of the office and show you that we actually are doing stuff out in the field. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. We're going to drop that this week as well, but I wanted to accompany that with a cool little podcast this week, because I've been doing a lot of thinking and kind of listening lately on the topic of success, right? I've recorded 200 and some odd episodes just purely about real estate tactical stuff. But as I kind of grow into, the world of coaching, our coaching program continues to grow, and our education side of our business continues to grow. I think a lot about why it is that certain people are successful and others are not. And I'm really trying to crack the code on why that happens, right? Like, why can you take two people that seemingly have the same, at least IQ or general, intelligence, we'll call it, and why can one person be successful and the other not be successful? And if you can crack that code, then obviously you can help more people, and you can be more effective, as a coach or a mentor or somebody that's trying to help people achieve success. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been listening to a lot of, people talk about, what it is that separates people that achieve massive success versus those that just kind of, maybe do or, maybe do not. And I've got 3 things that I want to talk about this week. So I'm going to dive into that. It's going to be a short show, a little bit of a different format. And I just want to give you guys some thoughts, some things that I'm pondering over the course of the past week as I kind of delve into that topic. Other than that, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. I actually just came from a lead that I looked at this morning, bright and early, 7:45 a.m., that happened to be near my house, which was nice. But we've got that. We've got a 3-lot deal that I'm meeting with the seller on tomorrow morning. We got another deal that we locked up yesterday that's in a hot little pocket of Southeast Portland. So this business is interesting. It kind of ebbs and flows as far as lead flow and deal flow goes. Lead flow is pretty constant, but deal flow it kind of ebbs and flows. It comes in bunches, it seems like. So, you can market and do as much as you want, but it seems like things always come in bunches. And it's been like that for years. So anyway, if you're experiencing the same thing or have experienced the same thing, it's pretty normal. Most people that I know kind of it works that way as well. Sort of like they say things come in threes, right? Well, deals kind of come in like threes or bunches in this business. It's just kind of the way it works. So anyway, we're super busy. We're trying to also punch out our multi-million-dollar Dunthorpe spec project, which we're about a month and a half away from being completed on that. I've been posting some pictures on my personal Facebook page under the stories section. So if you guys want to follow along with that, of course, you can watch $1 Million Builds as well. But I try and post a picture a day or so to just kind of show you guys different aspects of the house. And we'll be heading towards kind of putting in all the finishes and fixtures here very soon. So I'll be posting a lot of design stuff. It'd be cool to follow along. So if you have not already, make sure you send me a friend request on Facebook, and you guys can see what we got going on. All right, Real Dealz podcast listeners, I want to talk quickly about our show's sponsor, Iron Bridge Lending. If you guys have not reached out to Iron Bridge already to talk to them about funding some of your upcoming flip projects, I highly encourage you to do so. I've known the owner of Iron Bridge for a very long time. I personally borrowed millions of dollars from them over the years to do a number of different projects, and I can say without a doubt, they are the best hard money lending company I have ever come across, and that is the reason why they are the sole sponsor of this show. I've had a lot of other companies reach out to me and want to sponsor this show, but I just won't do it. I feel like I need to be genuine in who we have sponsoring the show, and it needs to be somebody that I've personally done a ton of business with. So I personally vouch for their ability to be the best, hands down, in the world of hard money lending. You won't find better programs, you won't find better terms, and they're lending or will be lending in over 20 states. So chances are, if you're hearing this in whatever state you're in, it's definitely worth it to check out their website, reach out to them, see if they're lending in your state, and if they are, I would absolutely encourage you to do business with them. Another very cool thing to note is that they have a program for most rehabs where you can actually borrow up to 90% of the purchase price. Now, this is given the fact that you are actually buying a deal, which if you're listening to the show, that means you probably are. But if you have an actual deal on the table, they'll fund up to 90% of your purchase price, and they'll even give you rehab funds on top of that, which means that it only takes 10% down to get into a project, which is unbelievable in the hard money world. So do yourself a favor, reach out to Iron Bridge Lending, have a conversation with them, see if they're a good fit for you and for your next project. I can guarantee you that you'll be happy that you did. So let's dive into this, right? Why is it that some people succeed and others don't? Not only in this business, but in life, right? And that's a big question. And I don't know that I have the complete answer, to be honest with you, but I do think that I've got a few answers or a few reasons why that might be the case that are at least contributing, or if not being, the absolute reasons in total why some people are successful and some people are not. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the information itself, right? So you guys are listening to a podcast, maybe you attend a seminar, you get coaching, you meet with somebody to get instruction. That's usually step one, right? And I know a lot of people, especially online, right? You look at a lot of Facebook groups that are real estate related. There's a lot of people that have obviously listened to a lot of podcasts, and they're kind of keyboard cowboys, and they seem to know the answer to everything. But yet, if you explore their profile a little further, you'll see that, they obviously have not, figured out the answer to everything, because their business or just financially or whatever, their life is not nearly as far along as one would think based on the answers that they're giving in some of the questions that are posed in these groups. But that brings me to my point here, which is, there's the information, and then there's what you do with it. And it also, there's a story or a couple guys that are in our Deal Finders Academy that both of them, over a different course of time, came in my office and sat down. And the thing that makes them different than a whole ton of other people that have either done that same thing or have talked to me over the phone or over the internet, over the last 6 years or more, actually, probably only like 8 years or so, that I've been online and kind of communicating with a lot of you guys in the real estate space, is that they came in the office. I told them what to do, right? I gave them some very explicit instructions on what to do in order to find a deal. Because if you find a deal, that then can usually turn into two can turn into five, and then you're off to the races. And you kind of get over that proverbial hump in terms of building a marketing machine, learning how to find deals directly from sellers, and just building out your business, right? And so they sat down in my office, both of these guys. They were very hungry, smart guys, no dummies by any means. But, just a lot of people are smart guys, right? But they were hungry and they wanted the information. And so my thing is, I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you what to do. Let's see how you do. Let's revisit it in a couple of months. Maybe they fall off and I never hear from them again, or maybe they've got some good news to report back. These two guys, the reason why, well, there's actually multiple. There's another guy as well, but he's not in our Deal Finders Academy. He's a local guy here. But these two guys, I gave them instruction and they went out and did it. And so that brings me to kind of my first, we'll call it 3 of the universal laws of success that I've kind of gathered, or as I've started to put together. There's probably more than that, but I've got 3 here anyway that I want to talk about. But it's what you do after you get the information. That's a huge thing, right? A lot of people get the information, they think they know how to do it, and they think that that's the important part, is getting the information. It's important, or they think it's the most important part. I should rephrase that. Now, it's important, don't get me wrong, because you have to know which direction you're pointing your ship, right? But the most important part is what you do after you get the information, right? And so these two guys, they took the information and they just ran with it. And eventually they were able to achieve success, find a deal. I mean, I heard from both of them. They're like, yep, got a deal locked up, going to sell it, make some money, whatever. I was like, wow, very impressive. Because they took the information and they ran with it. So it's really what you do with the information after you get it that makes you successful. It's not the fact that you know the information. I know, like I said, a lot of people online know how this business works. Very few of them actually do this business well. And it's because they have not put in the work after the fact to apply the information basically when nobody's watching, right? When they have the information, they have to put in the work on their own, and they got to figure this out, because that's the difficult part. So it's what you do after you get the information. That's the number one, we'll call it universal law of success, that I've kind of stumbled upon over the past few weeks here as I'm diving into this world of why people are successful. Some are and some aren't. The second thing, or we'll call it the second universal law, this might be an ever-growing list, right? I got 3 today, but I might have 6 next week. The second is that success lies outside of your comfort zone, right? That's a huge one. I think most people, especially as, you start to get older in life here, and, I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm 39, right? And, it's interesting how the different chapters of life, different things are important. You're friends with different people. It's just life changes, right? Life is all about chapters. But as you get into this chapter and beyond, you start to see that a lot of people live within this box that they create for themselves. And that's why certain people never change their lot in life, right? Because they create this box, that box is their comfort zone, and they very rarely like to go outside of their comfort zone. And if they do, it stresses them out to all hell, and they get real irritable, and they're just not happy, and it's just like, I got to get back into my comfort zone so quickly, because that's where I'm comfortable, right? And I just hate being uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. And I think it's almost like most of society, I'd say the vast majority of society is that way. They like to live within their comfort zone. And the reason being is because it's comfortable, right? But, with success, and whether it's building a real estate investing business or just trying to build any type of business, success lies outside of the box, right? It lies outside of the comfort zone box. You have to step outside of that box to find success or do anything that's remotely noteworthy. Very rarely are you going to achieve anything amazing within your box or within the comfort zone box that you've created for yourself. So you have to step outside of your comfort zone in order to do anything noteworthy. And it's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me still. But, the one mantra that I live by is you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I've said that a number of times on the show, but you really have to. That's a big thing. You have to be uncomfortable. For example, we've got a lot of money on the board right now. We got a lot of deals going on, but we're looking at new stuff and new opportunities. And, it's uncomfortable to think, okay, I've got to go raise more money. I've got to find, new funding sources to do these new deals. And if I bring these new deals on, then it's going to put pressure and stress on the systems that we have and the people that we have. Can we handle all the work on top of balancing it financially and funding wise? And, that's outside the comfort zone, right? Inside the comfort zone would be like, I've got plenty of money and plenty of time and plenty of manpower. But when you get to the edge of that comfort zone or outside of it, then it's like, but that's where you grow. That's where the company grows. That's where your business grows. That's where you grow as a person and as a business owner. So you have to step outside of your comfort zone in order to achieve anything noteworthy. That's just the reality of life. And so many people don't want to do that. And they just don't want to step out of it because they're so uncomfortable, and they don't want to put any effort into embracing being uncomfortable. And so my big takeaway for you is get comfortable being uncomfortable, and just understand that if you want to do anything, that people are going to praise or respect or admire in this world, you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone box in order to achieve that. So keep that in mind. Super important thing. And the last thing I want to mention, because this is going to be a short show, as I told you earlier, there's a speech on YouTube that you guys got to hear. It's a commencement speech by Denzel Washington. Awesome speech. The guy, he's a friggin' beast. But beyond that, he's also a great motivational speaker on the non-actor front, because he's obviously not an actor when he's giving a commencement speech at a college. He's just telling the future graduates or the graduates of that year, what to expect out of life. And so if you Google it, or you don't Google it, but you search it on YouTube, you can look for Denzel Washington commencement speech. And the one that I'm talking about is that he talks to the audience about failure, right? And he says that every single one of those people in the audience is going to fail at some point. And, we as society look at failure in kind of a negative light, right? But the reality is that if you're not failing, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything right eventually. But, to get out of your comfort zone, to do something you've never done before, you're going to experience failure. And I think that so many people are so deathly afraid to fail at things that they don't try anything at all. And then, of course, they just stay inside their comfort zone and they never go anywhere, right? So failure is just kind of a necessary part of success. You've got to fail before you succeed. And, I don't know what the old adage is, but what is it? Everything that's worth doing is difficult at first, right? Well, if it's difficult at first, it means you're probably going to fail at it. To apply that to real estate investing, when I got into this world of direct seller marketing, I started in 2004 trying to make this work, and I went on appointments having no idea what I was doing, didn't know how to extract a price out of people, didn't know how to build rapport with them, didn't know how to value the properties. Obviously that didn't work. Then I got back into it in 2009, spent a whole shit ton of money on direct mail campaigns with terrible marketing piece to a terrible list that was way too big starting out of the gate. Then I got into yellow letters and had people that were calling me up telling me that they were going to murder me because I sent them a yellow letter. All these things, right, which I would consider failures along the way to success are things that I experienced, but I did fail at these things. And now we've had a ton of success with it as well, but failure is just kind of part of the process along the way. So if you're not failing, you're not doing it right. And so go check out that video on YouTube. It'll really pump you up. I can't say it nearly as well as he can, but I watched it and I was like, what? That's really good. And the last thing I'll leave you with is kind of a culmination of all those things is that, a lot of people in life are unhappy. And the reason why they're unhappy is because they, kind of a culmination of all those things that I just mentioned. But, if you live within your comfort zone forever, you're rarely accomplishing anything new that's great, right? And at the end of the day, I feel like in life, when you're laying on your deathbed, the two things that you have are your relationships and your accomplishments, right? And your relationships being friends, family, what are those people going to say about you, right? Do they think you're an asshole? Or do they think that you were a solid stand-up person that did a lot of great things that they admire and they'll remember for a long time? And, you inspired them to do a lot of things to kind of continue your own legacy, right? Which one is it going to be? But you also have your accomplishments, right? And accomplishments are internally, when you're laying on your deathbed, what make you happy, right? What did I accomplish? Did I accomplish everything that I should have in this life while I was here, given, the abilities and, the potential that I had? Did I accomplish those things? So I personally think that happiness is tied to accomplishment. So if you accomplish things, your happiness increases. And I think that's a big missing piece of our society today. So I guess to recap here, the biggest three things that I've kind of concluded so far is that it's not about the information, it's how you apply the information after you learn it. That's the first step. Number two is going to be success lives outside of our comfort zone. You got to step out of your comfort zone to achieve success. And number three is if you're not failing, you're not doing things right, because you got to fail before you succeed. And then lastly, of course, I think happiness has a very direct correlation to accomplishment. And if you're not accomplishing things, that's probably why you're not happy, right? So anyway, that's episode 277. We got an awesome video podcast coming out this week as well. Shorter episode. I'll be back next week with a full-length one. I'll see you guys then. See ya!